George, where were you on June 30th when you found out about USC and UCLA?
Yeah, I was in the second day of my first vacation as a commissioner after a year. I was up in Montana, and I was actually driving over to Idaho, and in a place that did not have a lot of cell reception.
And not much fishing got done, I would think, after that.
No fishing has been done since, unfortunately.
Since that time, has there ever been, I guess, a why moment where you talked to USC or UCLA administrators about the why of it? You know, how it happened,
Yeah.
why it happened?
Other than the day after Chancellor Block and President Folt giving me notice that they had made the decision, I've not spoken to either of them since, and I haven't spoken to either of the athletic directors.
What was the tone of that phone call from the presidents?
They were just putting me on notice that they had made the decision. It's kind of an official delivery of notice. What
did you, I guess, learn about your job that you didn't know before at that moment? Because nothing prepares you for that kind of thing.
Yeah, listen, I think it's unfortunate. I understand why the decisions were made, but you know, I took this job because of what we do for student athletes. And I think at the end of the day, this looks to me like a short-term money decision that probably puts student athletes in a worse position with respect to health and safety, travel, academic pursuits. And I think that's unfortunate. And I think you're seeing the pushback already within the UCLA and USC communities. I think most of the communities regret the decision, and I think that will increase over time.
What was or what is the alliance right now?
Well, there are things that came out of the alliance which I'm quite proud of. The primary focus of the alliance was doing things for the benefit of the student athletes, and we had a really, really important mental health awareness campaign that ran in the last basketball season. Our students, along with students from the ACC and the Big Ten, were actually in Selma, Alabama just a couple of weeks ago, actually almost immediately after all of this news hit. One of my great disappointments is that I missed this trip because of what was going on. But our student athletes report back that that was a life-changing experience to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, to be part of that. So we've done some good things. The scheduling component that we thought we would be able to accomplish, which I thought would have been terrific for college football and for the Pac-12 and for the Big Ten and for the ACC, I think unfortunately is dead on the vine now.
You were a little bit emotional today, your State of the Union. You said the Big 12 trying to destabilize your league by lobbing grenades. I wonder if you'd be more specific about that.
Well, there are reports every single day about our schools meeting with the Big 12 and about our schools being poached by the Big 12 or approaching the Big 12 about joining the Big 12. And when you know the facts and you know what nonsense all of that is, and the fact that that's a constant drumbeat of false information that's being delivered to the press and then delivered to the fans, I just got tired of the false narrative.
Do you know if any of your teams have met the Big 12 teams on any official level?
No, I mean, I have heard about inquiries that have come in from the Big 12, and what's great is every time something comes in from a president or chancellor or AD at the Big 12, it gets forwarded to me by our presidents and ADs. That's a constant stream of nonsense. Let's be very clear, no Pac-12 school is joining the Big 12.
There was a chance last year when the Big 12 got raided by the SEC, a lot of those schools made calls out here. The Pac-12 didn't expand then. Is there any regret on that?
No, no regret. In the moment, it was the right decision.
What is the future of the Pac-12 going forward with 10? Is that viable right now?
It's viable for the time being, but our board has been very clear that they want us to look at expansion, and we have a set of criteria that they've approved. We're working through that criteria. I think the timing of that will probably be after our media rights deals are done later this year, but we're actively pursuing an understanding of what's available and rank and stank ordering that list.
You mentioned it earlier in the interview. You got into the job to help student athletes be an innovator, to change.
Yeah.
What's changed about the job, and can it ever get back to that place?
Well, I mean, the biggest regret, if there's any, is in the last year, there's been a move away from collegiality and trust among the conference commissioners. And I think that's really, really disturbing, because we have to figure out a way to work together for the benefit of all student athletes.
You said that in your State of the Union today, you mentioned something like that. You said that's probably not very collegial that I said that.
Yeah.
How emotional were you today? How emotional are you now?
I'm not very emotional. I mean, this is a job, and I have a job to do, and my head is down doing the job. I feel for our student athletes at UCLA and USC, particularly after 2024, but I don't get emotional about much of this stuff.
Speaking of that, the 10 FBS commissioners in Notre Dame will meet next, I think, in September for official CFP meetings. Can you conduct business, not you, but can all 10 conduct business on that level with all this going on?
We're going to have to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no choice. Yeah. So it'll be very business focused, but that's okay. I've been in a lot of business meetings where there's not a lot of social interaction. That's fine.
George Kliavkoff, thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
All right, so one of the takeaways there, you heard George Kliavkoff say no Pac-12 school is joining the Big 12. So with all this conference realignment and the mergers and teams and schools going to different conferences, Kliavkoff sounds authoritative in that situation, saying that, again, no Pac-12 school is joining the Big 12. But of course, that could change any day. I mean, we're in a fluid situation in college athletics. Pac-12 is trying to hold on. There's been talk that more of their member schools could leave. Last season, it was a good season in the Pac-12. Utah finished the season strong with 6 straight wins, including a victory over Oregon in the Pac-12 title game. Utah lost a wild game to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Utah and USC are co-favorites to win the Pac-12 this year. USC going to be joining the Big Ten in 2024.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.